Heat first, then the hush. Rudy leans in with a practiced squint and a pointed question that sounds like a trap. Jasmine doesn't flinch. She lets the room breathe, flips open a tabbed folder, and says, calm as a clock. I'm glad you asked, because page 47 answers that. Chairs stop creaking, phones rise. Even the moderator pauses on the inhale. According to transcripts and aired clips, the exchange starts fast and loud. It doesn't stay that way. Jasmine lowers her voice. The mic picks up every syllable. You cited this, she says, tapping a color-coded tab. But the line you're relying on? It says the opposite. She doesn't gloat. She reads. Clean. Precise. No adjectives. Just the line. Rudy opens his mouth to rebut. Nothing lands. The page sits between them like a mirror. His claim on one side, the text on the other. What happens next changes everything. Exhibit A lands, and the room tilts. But Exhibit B, that's the one everyone will replay in slow motion, the moment the air shifts and the noise turns into a verdict. Stay with it. The next line cuts deeper than headlines. If preparation over bluster is your anthem, tap like and subscribe so this kind of calm wins keeps coming. Drop your city, campus, or flag in the comments. We shout out our map every episode. Your roll call tells the algorithm what matters. Facts, not theatrics. Dignity, not noise. Watch on, because the receipts are moments away, and you'll want your crew here when the room flips. We see you everywhere tonight. It isn't really about a question and an answer. It's about whether power rides volume or earns trust. About who gets believed when the room gets loud, and whose voice still carries when the mic's cut out. In a country built by strivers, by immigrants, by women who prepare twice as hard to be heard once, that choice matters. Rudy pushes heat. Jasmine brings light. One is theater, one is rec. Ord. And when those collide on live TV, you get a test of what counts as real American leadership. Not swagger, but standards. Not vibes, but verification. Here's the promise. You will see the page. You will hear the line. You will watch the moment the air changes, the moderator blinks, and the narrative snaps into focus. Exhibit A sets the stake in the ground. Exhibit B flips the room. Exhibit C seals it with consistency. Why does that matter? Because people at home, watching on phones between shifts and classes, know the feeling of being talked over. They know the prove-it stare. They also know the quiet power of receipts. Bring the binder. Read the line. Let the silence work. Stay with this. The payoff isn't a dunk. It's dignity, documented, and it travels farther than a shout. And when it lands, it redefines who holds the floor. Calm isn't an accident for Jasmine Crockett. It's a practice. Before the bright lights, she was in courtrooms and community rooms, a civil rights attorney translating dense rules into human language. Early mornings, late nights, highlighters bleeding through legal pads. She learned to prepare like breath work. Steady, repeatable, grounding. On camera, that training shows. She doesn't chase the soundbite. She builds the record. You see it in the tabs, yellow for statutes, blue for prior statements, pink for procedures. You hear it in the cadence, short, clear, plain. No jargon unless she's reading a line, then she pauses, reads it clean, and translates it into everyday terms. Her presence carries warmth without softness. She smiles, then she asks the question you can't dodge. She listens, then she narrows. She doesn't spike the football, she moves the chains with receipts. And when the room gets hot, she cools the air by lowering her voice, inviting the facts to do the heavy lift. For viewers who have had to justify their seat at the table, women in leadership, first-gen pros, immigrants who double-check everything, there's recognition. The binder isn't a prop, it's a promise. It says, I did the work for you and with you. It says, dignity first, always. That is why the clip hits different. It isn't a miracle moment. It's the logical result of hours of unglamorous prep meeting a burst of performative pressure. When she says, page 47, it feels like home base. Not a gotcha. A standard. And the standard, once set, lights the path forward. So when a seasoned showman comes swinging, she doesn't swing back. She centers the text and lets the record speak louder than ego today. Rudy Giuliani knows television. He has logged decades under hot lights, once celebrated as a steady mayor, later a familiar face in green rooms. He speaks in quick cuts and headlines. He repeats with force. He sells certainty. It works until someone asks for the line. In recent years, he has reportedly faced a storm of legal disputes, many of which he contests or denies. That context follows him into every studio. It doesn't make him a villain. It makes him human, defensive, kinetic, eager to prove a point. The instinct is speed. The tool is pressure. The bet is that pace beats patience. Enter a different tempo. On a night when clips will travel in seconds, he leans on classic tactics. Narrow the question, interrupt the answer, declare the frame. He projects overconfidence because that has won him rooms before. He expects compliance because many guests chase the moment, not the record. But a mismatched fight feels strange on camera. He brought volume. She brought documents. He swipes at conclusions. She asks for citations. He insists the rule favors him. She opens a tab to the rule. The setup matters because it explains the turn. It wasn't personal heat colliding with personal heat. It was a practiced showman meeting a prepared lawyer, and the gap wasn't attitude, it was evidence. That difference is about to become clear in one sentence read aloud. And when it's read, the room recalibrates in real time. Start with the setting. A televised policy forum on election integrity and ethics. Taped before a live audience and clipped for social within minutes. The date stamp flashes across lower thirds. The chyron promises facts and accountability. According to the program's published rundown, both guests agreed to cite sources on air. That promise will matter. In the days before, Rudy appeared on multiple shows previewing his talking points, arguing process flaws, invoking statutes, and questioning oversight. Those segments, publicly available, set the pattern. Speak quickly, assert confidence, move on. Producers building tonight's panel reportedly leaned into the contrast. They invited Representative Jasmine Crockett, known for precise questioning in committee hearings and clear on-camera explanations. She arrived with a binder, not any binder, a color-coded system labeled ABC, A for prior statements, B for governing documents, court orders, ethics provisions, agency guidance, C for video clips to confirm context. Tabs peaked like signal flags from the cover. A spare pen sat clipped to the spine, Chekhov's folder visible before it was opened. The moderator opened with broad stakes, then asked both guests to ground claims in the record. Rudy went first, citing a statute and a past ruling. Jasmine nodded, took notes, and waited. When the floor shifted to her, she asked for the exact citation. He restated the claim, faster. She slid Exhibit A forward, a transcript excerpt from his earlier interview, date and time visible. According to the archived clip, the wording undercuts the premise he just advanced. That was the first ripple. The wave gathers next. Exhibit B is sitting under a blue tab, page 47 marked with a sticky flag. It is a governing line he invoked himself. When she reads it aloud, the forum stops being a debate and becomes a record. Our sources for this composite reconstruction will be on screen and linked in the description below. He speaks first, fast. Claims stack like dominoes. Statute here, precedent there, a sweeping conclusion on top. He asks a trap question in the middle of it, tight, binary, built to force a misstep. Before the moderator can breathe, he narrows, reframes, and pushes the pace. Interrupt, rephrase, declare, repeat. She doesn't chase speed, she changes tempo. Which statute number? Calm, direct. She mirrors his words back to him, trims the extras, and leaves only the claim. Can you read the section you're relying on? No edge, no rush, just the ask. He answers with summaries. She asks for text. He gives everyone knows. She requests, what page? He raises volume. She raises standards. You can hear it in the room. Cadence versus clarity, heat versus light. He tries to box her in with a yes or no. So you admit it was unlawful. The line hangs, sharp. She refuses the frame. I admit what the law actually says. She opens a tabbed binder and slides a sheet forward. A yellow flag peeks out. A. The audience leans closer, phones lifted, captions on. He presses. He interrupts mid-sentence. She stops, breathes, and resumes exactly where she left off. The moderator attempts to split time. The crowd murmurs for fairness. According to prior interviews and transcripts, his talking points have a pattern. Her binder is built around that pattern. Every page is prepped. Quotes are time-stamped. Sections are highlighted. She doesn't wield it like a weapon. She uses it like a compass. If you have the code in front of you, let's read together. The invitation is polite and surgical. He ventures a paraphrase of a ruling everyone cites. She taps the margin. Let's keep it precise. The camera finds her fingertip under a header. The tab reads A. The label beneath whispers promise. Exhibit A. He tries again to accelerate, to flood the zone, but the lane narrows to one demand, the exact citation. Not vibes, not memory, the line. He glances at the moderator. She glances at the page. He asks for context. She offers the text. Beat by beat, the rhythm bends to her control. Earlier, you said this order barred oversight. She notes. Steady. Which line says that? Silence opens. Useful. The trap he set now circles back, gently, onto him. She turns the page. The blue tab waits. Ready. Time for paper. Not memory. Exhibit A slides into view with a yellow tab. It's a transcript excerpt, according to an aired cable interview earlier this week. Date and time sit in the corner. The highlighted line shows Rudy describing an order as blocking oversight entirely, paraphrased here for fairness. Jasmine doesn't add color. She points, then reads the sentence as written. Why it matters. The premise he's leaning on is absolute. If the premise falls, the stack above it falls too. Exhibit B is the heartbeat, blue tab, page 47, paragraph 3. She reads it clean. The text, plain, not dense, states that oversight is permitted under defined procedures, according to the very document he invoked. No spin, no speed, just the line. A breath holds. If the order allows review, the blocked oversight claim shrinks to almost nothing. That is the flip. You can feel the room tilt toward the page. She does not stop. Exhibit C arrives under another yellow tab, a separate interview, reportedly months before, where Rudy praised the same process as standard and protective, paraphrased and sourced on screen in our composite. The date stamp anchors it. The quote is short, 2 clips, same speaker, opposite framing. Why it matters. Consistency is credibility. When positions reverse without new evidence, trust thins. Now the translation, plain and tight. This is what you said. This is what the rule says. This is what you said before. She stacks the 3 like steps, A, then B, then C. Past, text, pattern. The table becomes a timeline anyone can follow without pausing. The moderator blinks. Rudy reaches for a pivot, context, pressure, politics. But the paper doesn't blink. It just sits, quiet and heavy, making theory feel small. As the last line lands, phones rise higher. Captions catch page 47. The audience leans forward, then stills. The debate shrinks to a sentence. The sentence carries weight. And in the hush that follows, the verdict begins to form before anyone says a word. For clarity, she notes that quotes are paraphrased for broadcast and sites appear on screen with links to public records and transcripts. No speculation, just documents. And then softly she closes the binder halfway and waits, because Exhibit B has already done the work. The cameras hold, the moderator watches, and the room learns what accountability sounds like when read aloud. Together, silence lands like a verdict. The moderator blinks, pen frozen above the pad. Giuliani inhales to pivot, but the words don't arrive. He glances down, then back up, and finds the page still waiting. The room leans forward. Phones hover. No one rushes to fill the air. Crockett doesn't gloat. She returns to the statute, places a finger beneath the line, and invites correction. Her voice is lower now, almost a whisper. If I misread, show me the section. She waits. 10 seconds. 12. The moderator exhales and looks to Rudy. He opens his mouth, closes it, and reaches for context, process, pressure, politics. But the anchor is the text. The camera catches his hands, searching for a new frame. The audience shifts from murmurs to that telltale hush of recognition. They've heard enough to know. Preparation beat bluster jaw. Smine nods once and closes the binder halfway. The record stands, she says, neither sharp nor smug. She offers one last chance. Point us to the line. Nothing comes. The host gives a small nod and moves the program forward. But the power has already moved. The floor now belongs to the page. In that pause, a quiet consensus forms. Standards over swagger, receipts over rhetoric. People at home feel it in their chest. The clip is already writing its caption. Outside the studio, timelines light up. Page 47. Read the line. 10 minutes after the lights dim, the clip breaks free. Captions lock on the page number. Page 47 blinks in bold on reels and stories. Exhibit B becomes a tag, then a meme. Split screen, binder on the left, the single sentence on the right. No dunk lines, Just the quiet punch of a fact read out loud. Legal analysts post threads, careful and clear. According to their readings, the line says what she said. Court reporters quote the language and add context. Oversight veterans nod at the pause. That's the discipline, one writes. Educators clip it for civics. A professor uploads a short worksheet. Find the claim, find the source, read the line. Student groups run with it. A campus chapter prints stickers. Bring the binder. A debate team starts B checks before practice. Community organizers translate the key sentence into Spanish, Urdu, and Vietnamese, reportedly to widen reach. In church chats and group texts, aunties forward the video with one note. Dignity wins. Opponents push back on tone. Some call it performative. Some say the rule is outdated. Fair critiques circulate. They share the clip anyway because the argument now sits on a page. That spreads the reach beyond one team, and it moves the fight from feels to facts. The discourse tightens around the text. Donors take notice. Grassroots orgs cite the moment in emails, focused on competence, not outrage. Small-dollar donors reply with, for the binder. A nonpartisan watchdog posts a neutral summary with links. Reporters assemble timelines. According to public logs and transcripts, the dates match the captions shown on screen. The sourcing sits up front, clean and visible. Brand safety matters, so outlets paraphrase disputed phrases and blur sensitive details. Both public figures deserve fairness, and the coverage says so. Our composite labels appear beneath the clip. Built from public broadcasts and documents, links in bio. No speculation, no slurs. Just receipts you can check. By night's end, the forum uploads the full segment with a source slate. Comments stack with a simple triad. Bring the binder, read the line, let the silence work. A style becomes a standard. A clip becomes a habit. And across feeds, one quiet message keeps beating. Preparation over performance, receipts over rhetoric, dignity over noise. Local leaders echo it in practical ways. City council candidates post their packets online. PTA chairs tab bylaws before meetings. Librarians host source nights for teens. It feels small, but it stacks. Standards spread when people can see them, hold them, and use them together. Everywhere now. Dignity isn't a vibe. It's a strategy. It looks quiet. It hits hard. Facts first, ego last. What Jasmine modeled is a standard any of us can carry. Do the work, cite the source, center the text. That's not performative, that's patriotic. Inclusive patriotism says we argue like we care about each other, and we check the record even harder than we check our rival. It's how classrooms stay fair, it's how councils stay honest, it's how a country keeps its promise. If you've ever been waved off, talked over, told to calm down to be taken seriously, this is your map. You don't need a louder voice. You need a clearer line. Preparation is courage you can hold in your hands. 3 lines you can repeat anywhere. Bring the binder, read the line, let the silence work. Simple does not mean small, it means sharp. It turns a debate into a document. It turns spin into a sentence we can all read together. That shift is power without the spike, grace without retreat. It invites accountability, and it stands up when the air gets hot. Carry it into school boards, team meetings, family tables. Carry it into your next hard day. Show your work, share your sources, lead with calm, and when the noise rises, lower your voice, find the page, and let the standard do the talking. If this moment hit, subscribe and turn on alerts so calm, competent clips find you first. Share this with someone who needs a quiet win today. Drop your city in the comments and your verdict. Did Exhibit B flip it for you, or was it the pause after the read? We're back tomorrow with a new confrontation and a fresh Exhibit A. Same standard. Preparation over performance, receipts over rhetoric. Name the guest you want us to cover and the page you want read on air. We will bring the binder and let the line speak. Stay close. The next room might flip faster than you think, and you'll want a front row seat when the receipts land. Until then, be the standard. Bring the binder, read the line, let the silence work. See you in the comments. Tonight, everywhere.